Good day, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey now, everybody, how's it going?
Hello there, Drac. Um, we are back.
We're
Looks
back.
like,
That's right.
and Mixler seems to be working.
Hopefully, we're broadcasting live now, apparently, according to the Mixler dashboard. So
Yes.
they've got
For the
their issues worked out. Yeah, if you didn't see our tweets or you don't follow us on Twitter, we did have a show last week because Mixler was not playing nice. They were having some issues, so we couldn't broadcast it live. We were going to record it, and then we just decided we just wouldn't have a show. So, but we're back now, and live. So nobody is listening to us right now, but that's okay. I'm sure some people would join. We usually get people join in a little bit later on. We don't usually have people waiting for the show. And we tend to skew more on the download side anyway after the fact. So it's all good.
Then let us head into our game news, where with Cordovan on vacation this week, it looks like that we just have the Chronicle issue 339, which has lots and lots of treasure.
That's right. Treasure, gems, gold pieces, treasure chests, you name it, it's there. But I'm just trying to guess, is that a real treasure chest or is that a mimic?
Ooh, it's hard to tell sometimes.
It is very, very much so. Yeah,
Like,
what were you going to say?
I was just saying, but the regular treasure chests don't usually attempt to bite your head off.
Well, that's very true. They don't. So yeah, let's jump right into our 339th, as you said, DDO Chronicle. In the news this week, there is double points going on right now.
Woo.
And it's something different this time, though. They are introducing double points plus.
Plus.
You receive a free lesser elixir of discovery with any 700 to 4100 point bundle purchase, and you'll get a greater elixir of discovery with any 8,850 to 33,500 point purchase in the DDO store. Plus, you get your bonus points too, which is normal, but you just get the little extra elixir of discovery. So that's kind of cool that they're doing that.
And the elixir of discovery does what?
That will supposedly increase your chances of finding named items in chests.
Ah, and the other item I was thinking about just increases regular.
Yeah, that increases
treasure.
the loot table and the regular treasure, yes. This supposedly will help you find name loot.
You mean unless your name is Dracula?
Exactly. Unless you're me, and then the game just says, ha ha ha. Nope.
Have you ever tried one, or have
Yep.
you decided? Yeah.
And did I get a name drop? Nope.
No. I thought you were going to say you got 3 name drops, none of them which you used for your class.
Yeah. Well, that would probably be my luck, but yeah, no. So, well, there you go. Anyway, get those free and get your bonus points, so that's cool. We'll probably talk about that a little bit more when we talk about the store, but just wanted to mention it here as well in the community spotlight. You can watch episode number 3 of the Sharn Heaven and Hell. That, of course, is with myself and Pineleaf, as we are running through Sharn, of course. This week we did the cogs, sort of.
Cogs, yeah.
Kind of.
Sort of. It looks like looks like Mixer wasn't the only one having troubles.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in our week in DDO.
Okay.
You can check out session number 7 of Hugs Unlimited Salvage Operation Part 1. And if you don't know what the heck that is, that's part of the D&D Night on DDO stream. That's actually Bonnie Bew. She is running a group through an Eberron-based campaign. It's really good. It's really fun. Watch it. You'll enjoy it a lot. Let's jump right into our fansite news section. Brighter days ahead, continuing in through Sharn. I think you're going to have a Sharn team going on here.
Right.
Something got a hold of me from the Return of the House of Grouse. I haven't read this post yet, so I don't know what got a hold of them, but It sounds kind of ominous and scary. Here's the section of the show where I totally mispronounce stuff, but I'm going to do it anyway. The Warlock de Nuevo by D&D Reaper Con Hyberman. Not bad. Not bad. I'm sure Pine Leaf is saying no. That was not even close. Close enough for government work, as they say. DDO Cast. Yeah, that's right. DDO Cast had their episode 563. That's the Masterminds of Sharn review. That is on part 4. So check that out.
They are thoroughly reviewing.
They are. They are getting down to the nuts and bolts, as it were. Bard Life with Doug Glendower has the gears of gear. What were you going to say?
I said they're reviewing it down to the cogs. Yes.
Oh, wow! They can't all be winners, huh, Pine Leaf? The Damsels of DDO are adventuring in, you guessed it, Sharn. Click over to watch that 128-week raid from Mickey's Delirium. Read about that. Alex and Lynn have your DDO Sundays.
That's 2 to the 7th power.
No, well, there you go. Well, see, math jokes, folks. D&D Night on DDO stream last week had Out of the Abyss episode number 2. And the DDO PL folks continuing their War-Forged adventures. We have our Chronicle comment, and I have not even read this yet, so we're going to just jump right into this. How tall do you think the tallest building in Sharn is?
How tall do I think the tallest building in Sharn is? Well, that's an interesting question because some of them cheat by starting up above the ground.
Yeah, they do.
So
I don't know if that's considered one of the tallest buildings because they're floating and then they're on a cloud. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because
technically that wouldn't be right.
Right. I mean, that means the highest building is not necessarily the tallest building.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, how tall do I believe it to be? Ooh, I would say about 500 feet.
I'm going to say 672.5 feet. Sure, why not?
Now, is that a wild stab, or do you have a source book?
That is a wild stab. My source book is across the room from me. I mean, I could actually go over there and look and see if it lists how tall the buildings are. But I was too lazy to go. I can see the spine of the book right now. I'm pointing at it. It's right in that section of the shelf, right there. Right by the Ravenloft box set, right there.
Okay.
Let's jump into our screenshot of the week. That is Propane. He's checking out a ship in the moon in the 421st DDO screenshot of the week. Thanks to Propane for sending that shot in.
I don't know. To me, it looks like a microscope.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to figure this because I'm like, and then I read the description and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, that's a ship?
Actually, the other thing that might look like is if you've ever... Oh, of course, you're familiar with that. I was thinking it reminded me a little bit of an ogre.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, now that you say that, it does look like a Mark V. Ooh, very much so. Yeah.
So stay out of its way.
Exactly. I suggest staying out of the way.
Then what's on sale this week?
We have, of course, as we talked about, the double bonus points plus. And once again, if you weren't around for that section of the show, if you somehow were listening to the podcast and you missed the little bit ago, we'll talk about it real quick again. You receive a free lesser elixir of discovery with any 700 to 4100 points bundle, and then a greater elixir of discovery with the 8,850 to 33,500 point bundle now through July 7th. And of course, also with the double bonus points, you get the extra points when you buy just like normal. elsewhere in the store. We're honoring our guild this week, 20% off. Astral Shards and the Guild Renowned Elixirs, 50% off Guild Charters and Guild Airship Beacons through July 4th. The weekly coupon code is going to get you a long-lasting Supreme Ability Potion. 5 of those potions with the coupon code Lasting Ability. That also conveniently is through July 4th.
Then let's head into our site news, where I've heard a rumor of that Dracula went to Japan to have a victory over the origins of the Yellow Cosmos.
Wow. I don't even know how to follow that up. Did you like have that in reserve, or did you just come up with that right on the fly?
Oh, I was prepping it just as we were beginning the show. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, I was gonna say because if you just came up with that off the fly, kudos to you, sir. Yes, I did survive Origins Game Fair 2019. Had a great time as always. We had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos this year from Origins. We had a couple more, but had a technical malfunction, and I could not salvage those videos. These I did manage to fix. We had an audio issue and some other issues, so we won't go into that. Hopefully I know what caused that, and it won't happen to Gen Con, but we will see. We did talk to Japan Anime Games, Cosmos, Haba USA, Victory Point Games, and Yellow. So we had some great interviews with those, found out about the latest games coming out and some upcoming games as well. Cosmos, they have a new game that's coming out for Gen Con. It'll be available at Gen Con, called Roll for Adventure. It's freaking amazing. I so enjoyed looking at the game and seeing about that game. Hopefully we'll get more information on it at Gen Con, and we might even have an unboxing and a review of it. Maybe I'm working on that as we speak, so we'll see. Haba has, of course, some great new kids games coming out. Victory Point Games and Starling Games. We talked to them. Mainly we talked about the new edition of Dawn of the Zeds, which we are going to have review and an unboxing on that fairly soon. So look for that soon over on the sites. And over at Yellow, we talked about a lot of stuff because Yellow's got a lot of stuff going on. Mainly, we talked about they have a new imprint called Loki, and that is featuring on kids games. So they have a slew of kids games coming out. We talked about those, showed some of those off. Those looked amazing. We will have reviews and unboxings on most of those coming as well, too. So once again, another great Origins. Always a good time. I like Origins. It's different than Gen Con. It's a little smaller and a little more, I guess, laid back is how I want to word it. So it's not quite as busy and not quite as hustle and bustle as Gen Con. And I think the game companies kind of feel the same way too. And I know all of the companies I talked to on and off the record, because I did actually talk to a lot more people than just these, but I didn't actually do, official interview videos or anything with them. They all said they had their best Origins ever in the aspect of sales and stuff like that. So Origins was a big hit this year. So can't wait to go back next year, as always. And do you want to mention a big shout out and thank you to our convention sponsor, which of course is our friends over at the Skull Splitter Dice Company. That's skullsplitterdice.com. Mention DDO players if you are a new customer. If you have never ordered anything from Skull Splitter before, mention DDO players sent you, and you're going to get a free pair of dice just for mentioning us and buying a set of dice. And they have plenty of cool dice to choose from. So check them out at skullsplitterdice.com. So that pretty much wraps up Origins. So up next is Gen Con, which is fastly approaching.
It's about a month?
Yeah, just about. Starts August 1st. So yeah, just about a month from now. So really quick. Oof, that's It's kind of scary to think about, actually, how fast that's coming. And I'm already booking interviews for Gen Con. I'm starting to get all the press emails and all that fun stuff, and that's where I book all my interview slots. So that is actually started. I've got 3 or 4 of them booked already. So I'm kind of going to do it different this year. I'm not going to bunch them up like I normally do. I'm going to kind of spread them out over the 4 days. So I'm not too like running from, because last year I stacked way too many on, I think it was Friday maybe. So I barely had enough time to get from one booth to the next booth to the next booth to the next booth. So I'm not doing that. I'm spreading them out this year. I'm actually gonna try to play some more games this year at Gen Con. Imagine that.
Ooh,
There's
what
a
a
novel
concept.
concept. Exactly. It's kind of that fine line. I have to, balance that though, because I'm actually there as press, so I have to make sure, that
You
I
do
do
some press
enough.
stuff.
Right, exactly. So I think I found a nice balance. So I'm kind of redoing the schedule this year. So we'll see how that works out for Gen Con. And remember, we do have our GoFundMe still running. If you would like to help fund all of this crazy convention coverage that we do, because it's stupid expensive to do this. But I love doing it. I enjoy doing it. Any help you would like to give would be amazing. But go watch all the Origins videos and see all the cool new games coming out from those companies. And that's it. That was Origins 2019.
Then let's go and see what's coming in from the dungeon. Where Osprey has announced 2 RPGs under their Osprey role-playing series mantle, which includes Romance of the Perilous Land, which was maybe slightly different from what I was expecting from the title, but not too far from it. Is I was expecting something from the Celtic world. Now, I guess technically if you go back to the earliest versions of King Arthur, I guess that would be in pre-Saxon Britain. So I guess that would be technically Celtic. And then the other one is Paleomythic, which is set in the Stone Age.
Yeah, and that's really kind of intriguing, actually. It's this whole thing from Osprey is intriguing me as to why they chose now to start doing RPGs. It's just like, okay. I mean, and it kind of came from nowhere. I don't, they didn't say anything to me. I've talked to them, at Gen Con last year. And I talk to my press contact all the time through emails. He's always emailed me about stuff. And I had no clue this was coming until I got the actual press release. And I was like, whoa. But yeah, they're actually going to start doing RPGs. These are actual RPGs, because if you're familiar with Osprey, they mainly do war games and fantasy games, all miniature based. They have rules for that. They also do the Dracula in America series, which we have reviews. You can go back and look at the reviews on those if you're interested in that. We've done some reviews of Osprey's tabletop games as well. But yeah, they're actually doing RPGs now. And as you said, the 2 books, The Romance of the Perilous Land, that is a role-playing game of British folklore set in the time of King Arthur. So that sounds pretty cool, actually. I'm pretty excited about this. And this is actually, the author on this one is Scott Malthouse, who designed the Quill-based game. So if you're familiar with that, that's a free game that you can download. It's a free solo game. You can get it over on like Drive-Thru RPG and all of that. So this should be pretty good, because Quill was really, really good. And we actually did an interview with him like way back in the day. I'll have to see if I can dig that up. It's somewhere on the site. That was like almost the beginning of the site, maybe, is when we interviewed him about Quill. So you can kind of read that and then get excited about Romance of the Perilous Land.
Hmm.
And then the Stone Age, talking about going from one extreme to the other. But players are going to face all manner of challenges as they try to survive in the prehistoric land of the ancient Mao, I guess. That's how you would say that. Mu? Okay. Taking on the roles of hunters, healers, warriors, soothsayers, and more. So, yeah, Stone Age and British folklore. So, two different extremes that Osprey is going to go. And the MSRP on these in American dollars is $30 for both of them, 40 Canadian and 20 British pounds. So, decent. I mean, not too bad for a RPG, but we'll see how these go. These are coming out later this year.
I can only imagine that they got these games by the president of the company by saying that they'll have two games involving RPGs, and the president thought that they were rocket-powered grenades, and so fell in love with them.
Maybe. And then he's like, oh, that RPG. Gotcha. So, yeah. So look for some interesting RPGs coming from Osprey later this year.
Then let's head into what our news is on the tabletop. Where we have an announcement on the winner of the Kinderspiel des Jahres.
We do, and I look back and I kind of fell in that weird time when a lot was going on. I never did a post on even the nominees, but hey, we have a winner now. Valley of the Vikings. That is, of course, from Haba. It was released, actually, Haba has won the Kinderspiel 2 years in a row now because they won in 2018 last year with Dragon's Breath as well.
Yeah. Now, question, do they have an English edition?
It's coming out.
Okay.
It's not out yet, but it's coming out. Yeah, this is actually a German game. Of course, most of Hobby's games are German because they're a German-based company, and then they tend to bring most of the games over here. There's some that they don't. We'll let Pine Leaf tackle the actual name of this game.
Tal der Wikinger.
Sure, what he
Well,
said.
I don't know.
Are better known as Valley of the Vikings.
Yes, Valley of the Vikings. Let's try that.
In the game, it's a dexterity-based game, for kids because Haba does kids games. And the Kinderspiel, of course, is the kids game of the year, if you were not aware. Players are rolling a ball to knock over specific colored barrels, which will then let them line up their Vikings on the nearby dock. The aim is to avoid being the first Viking to take the plunge off the jetty, causing everyone else to get a point.
Okay.
It looks pretty good. I watched a video of somebody playing this after it won because I'll be honest, I never heard of the game. And I'm like, it looks pretty cool, and I think kids would enjoy it. So I'm sure you'll see it soon because usually when it wins the Kinderspiel, it gets all sorts of buzz and promotion. So I'm sure the English version will be coming soon. I'll mail the rep from Haba to see if she can give me a rough estimate when it will be available. But congratulations to Haba 2 years in a row on the Kinderspiel.
And the Spiel and the Kennerspiel will be announced on July 22nd.
Yes, so not too long to wait to see on those two prestigious awards.
I do wonder is why they had to choose two of the three names had to be so close to each other. Kinderspiel and Kennerspiel.
I've always wondered that because it's so confusing.
Yes. I mean, okay. Yes, well, Kinder is a reasonably recognizable name. Kenner is just close enough to it where I said, did they just say Kinder?
Yeah. Is that the kid? No, the Kinder? No, it's the Kenner. What? Oh, change the name. It's confusing.
Yes, we can't ken that. All right, well, let's head into our week in gaming. in Draculetta. What were you up to?
Well, not a lot, really. I've had, I had Origins, came back from that, had stuff going on, blah, blah, blah. Insert what I talk about most of the time when I can't do anything here. Did play a little bit of DDO with you. I'll let you talk about that, because I'm going to talk about some 5e that I played over on the D&D on DDO stream. We did the Waterdeep Dragon Heist, the Waterdeep Dwarves, plus the one Drow, who, if you're not familiar with by now, I'm the Drow. We did another episode of that. This was a really fun episode. Things are starting to happen fast now. We're actually on the hunt for the dragons. Things are in process. Things are moving. So that game is getting so fun. That is such a fun game. And then we did Out of the Abyss Part 2, which is also on D&D Night on DDO stream. So you can check out videos of these. The Waterdeep Dragon Heist is mainly on Ebo Beaker's YouTube, but you can get it on D&D on DDO streams on the YouTube DDO page as well too. I'll put links in the show notes for them. But yeah, we did Out of the Abyss Part 2. We are making our way out of the abyss, of course. And that's, if you are familiar with this game that we're playing, that's the one where I basically told Orcus to go pound sand, and he destroyed the castle that we were in, and in doing so, sent us all to the abyss. We were all separated, but now we're all back together, and we're slowly making our way out of the Underdark.
Oh, let me get this straight. You told Orcus to pound sand.
Yes, I did.
While you were in a sandcastle.
Well, sure. Sure.
Well, he must have thought you were in a sandcastle.
Yeah.
That's why he pounded it.
Yeah, it's not to get too spoilery in case people haven't watched our show, but yeah, I had something. There's two pieces of this thing. I had both pieces. He wanted them. I told him no. He said, yes, you're going to give me that. I said, no, I'm not. You can go fly a kite, in so many words. And, of course, telling that to Orcus, probably not the smartest idea, but hey, it's fine.
Well, yeah. Orcus doesn't have a very good sense of humor.
Apparently not. So he sent us all to the abyss. So we'll see if we can survive the Underdark and getting out. And there's a lot going on because for some reason all of the major demon lords are all of a sudden in the abyss, and there's something going on. And we're just now starting to figure out, oh, hey, there's a bunch of demon lords down here. What's going on with this? Why are they all in the Underdark, and what's going on, and what can we do to stop this, and how can we get out of here? So check that out over on D&D stream. And that was it for my week. So Pineleaf, what did we do, and what did you do, and once again, where do you find the time?
All right, where did it go? In our group together for Heaven and Hell, we headed into the cogs, and we ran the Wraith Callers and also Thralls of the Fungus Lord.
Well, we tried to run that. The lag monster defeated us.
What, in Thralls of the Fungus Lord? No, we finished it.
Did we then?
Yeah,
we did. We did manage to actually finish it. It took way longer than it should have.
It did take much longer than it should have, but the lag monster hit us right while we were doing the optionals.
And if you watch the video, you'll see what we're talking about. But yeah, it was a slideshow most of the time. And it was kind of like step. Oh, hey, look, I'm back where I started. No, I'm not. I'm up. No, I'm back where I started again. Step. Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I have had lag that bad in DDO, so I don't know if it was just that quest, because minor spoiler alert, if you haven't done that quest, I'm assuming by now everybody's ran that quest. There are jellies that keep coming, and they just keep spawning. So I'm kind of wondering if there was just way too many of them spawning at one time and
Well,
it
I don't
killed. I don't know, but I
I
really
don't
don't
think
think that was
so.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that was it either, especially since we were still having a lot of trouble even after the jellies were dead.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is true. It got better. At least we could run maybe 10 steps without lagging and freezing, and yeah, but it was bad. Like I said, you can watch the video. Right now, it's just on my Twitch page. I haven't uploaded it to YouTube yet, but I will put it over to YouTube, so you can watch that and see us uh, fight the lag monster and the fungus lord both.
Then, on my own site for my Dragonborn series, I also went into the cogs. I found one of the rares that was in there of, I forgot how many rares there are, something like 12 or something like this. I found only one of them because that's the way it goes. And I ran Ruinous Schemes, which I failed during the boss fight because it was just it was major close quarters fighting, and my Dragonborn is an artificer and not built for close quarters fighting. So it was close quarters fighting in a room where you were, of course, locked in the room with the boss, and you're fighting on a bridge. You can see how well that went,
Yeah, I'm gonna say that is not a good combination whatsoever.
especially if you are a ranged fighter. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So that didn't go too well. After that, I then ran the Wraith Callers, which I remember we had a lot of trouble with the Wraith Callers when I was running with you. This seems to be the inverse situation as to what we
Yeah.
had when we ran. I forgot which one where in solo I had a lot of trouble with it, which was the best best laid plans, where I was ripped apart to it when we did it together. We breezed through it. In this case, in the Wraith Callers, I thought I didn't have too much trouble with it. I guess I could watch the video to double check on that, but I remember us being bullied in that one when we were doing it together.
Yeah, it seems like we were.
Right.
I'll have to watch your video and then see how much different your playthrough was it
Yeah.
versus ours.
Yeah, it could be the power curve on the numbers that you have in your party or something like that was
Could
against us
be.
in that one. Then I ran Smash and Burn, which I think the title says it all there. And you had some target special things that you're supposed to destroy, and finding those are tough. And especially since I have a feeling that they're in different locations depending on when you're running it. Because that's how I had trouble finding the fourth one. So I said, okay, let's see what the wiki says the location of the last one is. Oh, wait a minute. Based on what the wiki says here, either A, the wiki is wrong, or B, they're not always in the same places. Which in something where you're trying to find something is no huge shock in there. It won't be the first one where something was at different places in this expansion. Then finally, Thralls of the Fungus Lord, where it took me a long time to figure out that I needed to go in and get up there in order to stop the machine creating all those slimes in there. So
Oh.
yeah, because we at least had the advantage there where I had already run it, so that I knew that okay. I was just afraid because I knew that there are lots of traps up there, but eventually, with what was going on, I just ran up there and put out the traps and turned that thing off and just took the hits from the traps and let it be with that because I figured stopping those funguses was the main priority there. And I think Drac was a little busy doing the fighting because I wasn't doing too well against the
Yeah.
as because I didn't have any sort of muck weapon or anything like that, so I was a little bit afraid of doing too much fighting against them, which probably should have done it anyway. So that's what happened in there. I managed to eventually get up there and slowly went up there and tried to see if I could put out the traps along the way, all sorts of fun stuff like it. Going about as slowly as I possibly can and trying to put that thing out, which is probably not the best way of handling that encounter. Then after that, I did a little bit of extra killing in the cogs and hit level 16. And in Minecraft, in my 1.14 world, I fended off my first raid. So I went in there, set off a raid, and defended the village in there and managed. Well, actually, I think there might have been a casualty in there, but most of the village survived, and that's sort of the important part in that. So therefore, I've managed to survive my first raid, and that's a series I'm doing where the goal was to build a fortification to protect the villagers. So I think the fortification worked reasonably well. It wasn't perfect, but I think it worked reasonably well and allowed me to keep those marauders out of the base. Then in tabletop, I ran some more Thunderstone quest where I played the final adventure in the second quest, and I also played the 2 adventures in the epilogue. And in there, the reason why I skipped the epilogue and didn't run it quest 3 and 4 is because I got butchered in quest 2. I was just being pounded upon and pounded upon and pounded upon. And I thought, maybe I'll see what happened. And I knew that quest 3 and 4 were the toughest quests in Thunderstone Quest, were the toughest 2 quests that even the 6 and 7, which were released with barricades, aren't as tough as that one. So I thought, okay, I will skip 3 and 4 for now. I went to the epilogue, which was a little bit easier on the other side. I managed to win those. So when I get back to Thunderstone Quest, I am going to check out and see what I can do for those particular check out 6 and 7 before I head back to 3 and 4. Though that may be a little while from now because on last Friday, Handelabra put out the pre-release version of Aeon's End, of their implementation of Aeon's End. And if you haven't figured it out yet, I do really have a liking for Aeon's End. So I was really happy to see that come out on Steam, or at least in early access on Steam. And I've managed to get 3 games of it through so far. Managed to get pounded on 3 of them. Managed to win 2 of them. Trying to get used to the interface right now, and because I had been playing Legacy and a little test on something that's coming up in New Age, because I was running those things, I was used to the slightly easier version they have on solo for these. And here, yeah, solo with 3 cards per round is very, very tough. So I was just getting used to on that again. But I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. And finally, we have the halftime report, because this is halfway through the year. And if you recall, at the end of last year, where we made our plans or our goals for 2019. So I thought, let's see how far I'm along halfway through the year. And on the DDO goals, I'm about halfway through on there, since I made it to 16 on my Dragonborn, and we are at level 9 on the other characters. Yeah, well, that'll probably slow down a little bit on how far we get because our little side trip into Sharn and the little side trip of your computer not working for. We had was it bad internet, and you were sick at some point, all sorts of fun stuff like that. So we had a couple of episodes that
Yeah,
were
there was
postponed.
all sorts of weird things that
Yeah,
happened. Yeah.
but I am halfway through my goal, and that is halfway through the year, so I think that's reasonably good. As for my Lotro goals, I'm pretty much blasting through them. I had one where I said I was going to get halfway through Skirmisher and Middle Earth, and I said halfway because I was I wasn't sure whether or not they would have all the skirmishes out by the end of the year, and all the skirmishes are out now. So I have a feeling that by the time we hit by the end of September, I'm going to have the full title done, even though my original goal was only get halfway there. Because I did hit the halfway point already on that.
And you're talking on the legendary server,
Yeah, it's
correct?
on the
Yeah.
legendary server.
Okay.
And to get kindred with all of the Eriador factions, I've got 9 of them. I've got one more zone to do, and that was a zone that was just added a couple of weeks ago. So I suspect that in a couple of months I'm going to reach that zone and be able to work on the getting kindred there. For the Minecraft Hardcore Challenge, I managed to do 6 of them already, and the goal is to do at least 10 this year. So that's a reasonably good pace. Now, as for Base Race, which was another Minecraft challenge that I was doing last year, they're on hiatus now. So because of that, I substituted a new challenge called Mage Rage, which is by the same people, and in fact is probably what's pretty much replacing Base Race. And so similar in some ways, it's another scavenger hunt. It's a smaller scale one, but I'm giving myself credit for completing 4 of them in a month. So therefore it'll be similar, so a similar scale to it. So instead of one big one each month, there'll be 4 smaller ones instead. And I have completed 5 months worth of that so far. Now there's also the one thing that I was planning to do is do a campaign of one of the D&D adventure games, and be I don't know, games where they sacrifice the gameplay of the individual game in favor of the campaign. Usually it doesn't appeal to me as much, especially if it's a long-winded campaign.
Right.
So therefore, that's why I was never excited about the Waterdeep one that just came out, because Waterdeep, and in fact, the same thing is true with Tomb of Annihilation, and to a certain extent, Temple of Elemental Evil. Is They're much more focused to the campaign than I think than to the individual scenarios.
Yeah, it
And
is definitely.
in fact, that might be one of the reasons, in addition to theme, on why my favorite one of the entire line is Castle Ravenloft, because that's the only one that absolutely nothing is geared toward campaigns in that one. So therefore, I decided I wasn't in the mood to do that. So I replaced that with Thunderstone Quest. And so I'm doing this and my goal is to do then all the quests in there, which would take up 20 adventures. And I've gotten through 8 of the 20. So that's 4 of 10, let's say, since I'm giving half a point each of them. So I'm getting close to halfway on there. I finished 3 of my board game sets: Aeon's End. Yeah, I know that should be no surprise. Warfighter, and also one where I say I would play at least 10 different new games this year. So I've completed that one. What I'm behind in is the Harry Potter game and Arkham Horror. I'm pretty much behind on both of those right now, but I've got 6 months, so I've got time to actually finish those. And that means my total progress is 80 points out of 120. So I'm two
Wow, you're not doing bad
two
at all.
two-thirds of the way there.
And
Uh,
I don't even remember what mine was, so I'm gonna say I'm 0 of whatever number. Because I can't even remember what they were. I bet I've done none of them. So
well,
I'll have to go back and look and even see what they were. That's terrible.
yeah. Well, actually, the thing that is going to slow me down on the board game side on doing too much is that in about a month, Aeon's End New Age is going to be released, and you can guess what I'm going to be playing for about
Yep.
for at least a month after that. That's going to be in there. I'm just trying to see if I wrote down your goals.
I'd have to go back and look at the show notes for that episode.
Yes, it looks like I did not write your goals down. I only wrote down mine. Oh well, sorry about that. I'm sure Drac is just relieved.
Pretty sure, as I said, spoiler alert, 0 of whatever number. Just gonna go out on a limb and say none. Nothing.
All right. We currently have 17 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even guest with us for an episode of DDO Players News. And we did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, DDO Players at DDO Players, Dracula at Dracula_72, and Piney at Piney Needles. And you could watch our Heaven and Hell series on Drax Twitch stream, Dracula_72. The Players Alliance has two shows. Hopefully, we'll have live shows again uh, after our little battle with Mixler. On Thursdays at 7 p.m. US Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. US Eastern Time, we have Loja Players News. And you can join us for our shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Piney Noodles reminding you to quest responsibly.